The climate is changing. The Earth is warming up, and there is now overwhelming scientific consensus that it is happening, and human-induced. With global warming on the increase and species and their habitats on the decrease, chances for ecosystems to adapt naturally are diminishing. Many are agreed that climate change may be one of the greatest threats facing the planet. Recent years show increasing temperatures in various regions or increasing extremities in weather patterns. Research has shown that air pollutants from fossil fuel use make clouds reflect more of the sun's rays back into space. This leads to an effect known as global dimming, whereby less heat and energy reaches the Earth. At first, it sounds like an ironic savor to climate change problems. However, it is believed that global dimming caused the droughts in Ethiopia in the 70s and 80s, where millions died, because the northern hemisphere oceans were not warm enough to allow rain formation. Global dimming is also hiding the true power of global warming by cleaning up global dimming, causing pollutions with toppling greenhouse gas emissions. Rapid warming has been observed, and various human health and ecological disasters have resulted as witnessed during the European heat wave in 2003, which shows thousands of people died. The United States plus a few other countries and many large corporations have been against climate change threats due to fear of the threat to their company and profits if they have to make substantial changes. However, as more climate change science has emerged over the years, many businesses are accepting this and even asking the governments for more action so that there is quick clarification on the new rules of the game so they can get on with their business. For many years, large influential business and governments have been against the idea of global warming. Many have poured a lot of resources into discrediting what has generally been accepted for a long time as real. Now, the mainstream is generally worried about climate change impacts, and the discourse seems to have shifted accordingly. Some businesses that once engaged in disinformation campaigns have even changed their opinions, some even requesting governments for regulation and directions on this issue. However, a few influential companies and organizations are still attempting to undermine climate change actions and concerns. Will all this mean a different type of spin and propaganda with attempts at greenwashing and misleading information becoming the norm, or will there now be major safety and attitudes to seek concrete solutions being proposed and implemented?
The first step to solve that is admitting that we have a problem. After decades of denial, most of us now realize we are addicted to fossil fuels that create vast quantities of carbon dioxide, and that this addiction also extends to a wide variety of industrial and agricultural practices that create a whole host of other global warming gases. We are fundamentally changing the planet we live on. We know we have a problem, so what now? Many and varied solutions to climate change have been proposed, including individual frugality, energy conservation measures, renewable energy, and carbon sequestration. Which is the solution? Most likely, all of them. There are champions for it, but in the end, we might need to use every trick we know to get us out of this one, because carbon dioxide is mostly emitted from the consumption of energy from fossil fuels, for lighting, transportation, manufacturing, etc. Changing the way we produce and use energy is our starting point to trying to reduce emissions. Energy conservation will show the earliest payback in terms of CO2 reduction. In many cases, an investment in energy conservation made this year will show CO2 reduction this year and every year thereafter, because we've been living in a world of artificial, cheap energy for decades. There are huge opportunities for energy conservation. Renewable energy, including energy from wind, solar, wave, biofuels, etc., substitutes directly for fossil fuels and eliminates CO2 emissions entirely. A small note of caution is needed. In a few cases, most notorious certain biofuels A large amount of energy input is required to create renewable energy, in some cases even exceeding the resulting energy output. Most renewable energy, however, is extremely efficient and is poised to grow in importance due to the rising cost of fossil fuels. In many places where governments have stepped in to help this process along, renewables are already playing an important role. Sequestration, or the long-term trapping of carbon dioxide before it enters the atmosphere, is an intermediate step along the way, but is not the solution in of itself. Carbon dioxide can be sequestered as a gas by putting it underground or into the ocean, or it can be sequestered by plants. However, carbon sequestered by plants is, in most cases, quickly released to the atmosphere again. The carbon budget of plants can be tamed to sequester a great amount of CO2 from the atmosphere. But so far we have been doing the opposite. Cutting and burning forests, for instance, has released vast amounts of CO2 into the atmosphere, and poor agriculture has resulted in CO2 being released from the soil. Some of these changes are reversible in the long run. What can you do? There are many ways that you can make a difference, such as driving less, insulating your house better, changing your voting priorities, buying organic food, eating less meat, buying fuel-efficient appliances and vehicles. But if we don't do something now, we will be condemned.